I'm using the LBM4015 for this bead. As you can see, the rod is kind of a purplish blue color. That's actually just the outside. While pulling the cane, the outside of this particular glass, the surface struck to blues, purples, and greens. The cane itself is in reality a darkish amber, but it does have that outside, that surface translucence to it. So in reflected light, it looks either blue, green, or purple. Most of it is bluish. It's a very fast striking glass, which is a large part of the reason it it has that surface coloration on it and struck while I was pulling it. Well, that was a little sloppy. Let's see if I can straighten out that end of the bead. I'm working on my back porch, so I have the sunlight, which works a lot better for me than when doing these videos than artificial lighting does. It does, however, make it a little bit difficult to judge the color or the heat of the glass by its color. As I mentioned in some of my other videos, if you've ever worked in direct sunlight, you already know that the color rendition is different under a torch flame than it is inside under either fluorescent or incandescent lighting. But that's not an excuse for sloppy glass. And well, to be honest, I put that end on a little sloppy. Right now what I'm doing, speaking of sloppy, is just I'm adding glass to the surface in a non-uniform manner. Because with this glass in particular, with most of them, but this is one that does it to a large extent. When the glass goes on like that, the final bead, in spite of the fact that the glass, after laying it on, has been heated and melted and worked considerably, that surface will still, to a certain extent, hold the variations in color from the glass going on non-uniformly like that. So if you want a bead that has a lot of variation in color, then being what would normally probably be thought of as adding the glass in a sloppy fashion, in this case is an advantage. This glass also reacts well to a quick chilling of the surface. when using tools, metal tools, I don't recommend graphite. Graphite tends to cause the surface to reduce. Carbon is a very strong reducing agent, and graphite is 100% carbon. So I prefer metal tools. I like steel. A lot of people use brass, especially for bead presses, and that works well too. And you can see while I've been talking, just I've just been heating that a little bit to keep it from getting too cool. I cracked a couple of beads earlier today while trying to make some videos, and I'd prefer not to do it with this one. So I didn't let this get very cold before I started restriking. If you do let it get cold, it will go to a darker brown before it starts. Now, this end is fairly light colored and probably overstruck. So what I will do to reset the striking sequence is heat the surface. I get a good hot flame. The flame needs to be neutral to oxidizing for this. Otherwise, a reduction flame will simply overstrike it. A reduction flame isn't a good flame for this. And just a quick shot of heat to the surface glass. As that cools, you'll see that the color will start to darken. I'll do the same thing to the other end a little bit. And that helps vary the color and the bead. You can also see the patterns underneath that color. Those patterns are from the way I laid the glass on. And even if I got this entire bead hot enough and soupy enough to completely change the shape, those patterns to a certain extent would still show up. They would still be visible in the finished bead. Now just a quick heat of the entire length of the bead. That starts the striking. You can see everything has turned dark amber, dark brown. And I will gently heat things, and from there the surface of the amber starts turning blue. See, on this end I've done a terrible job of getting that end even, but since this is a color demonstration and not an actual bead making video, how-to video, I will live with that. Also because I don't sell these beads. These are beads that are made for demonstration purposes, made for so I know what particular glasses will do when used, and I simply save these myself so they don't have to be perfect. A little bit of spot heating again, and that was actually a little more than I intended. And part of the glass there reset, while part of it probably overstruck. Once again, working out in the sunlight makes it a little difficult to judge the temperature of the glass. But on the other hand, this, as I said at the beginning of the video, the LMB4015 is a very fast striking glass. So if one is not careful, that can happen. Now I've got some pretty good color here, and I'm fairly happy with it right now. If I continue heating the entire bead, it will start to lighten and cloud up, and I don't want to get too much cloudiness on this bead. So what I'm going to do, right here is still fairly dark, so what I'll do is just give that one little quick shot, just a very, very brief shot of heat, that dark spot. And that should, when the entire bead is heated again, to even the heat throughout the bead. That spot where I gave the shot of heat, well, it didn't do what I planned. Not completely, at least. The plan was that would lighten up because of that quick shot of heat, but it only lightened around the edge of where I blasted it, so I'll give it a little more heat this time. And that may have been a little too much. You can see it got very light. That overstruck, but chances are that also got it hot enough to restart the striking. And when I heat it now, it should probably go to amber and then lighten up quickly, because I haven't let it cool too fast. And apparently this one's trying to make me look foolish by not doing what I expect. Yeah. That's one of the joys of silver glass. It isn't terribly predictable, not all the time at least. Okay, now it's lightened up. And now I personally think I've got some pretty good color in that bead. And I will put that one away. One last heat. I batch anneal my beads, so what I do is, rather than popping a hot bead straight into the oven, I put them in fiber fracks to cool down, and then take them off the mandrels later